it's important to keep up to date on this because the extradition request is really a sign that authorities are taking the collapse of UST, the collapse of Luna, really seriously, right? So the outcome of the case will probably ultimately have some pretty major implications for the future of cryptocurrency regulation, which we've been talking about.
Welcome back to another episode of WAGME TV. Today, we've got new news on Do Kwon and his extradition to possibly the US or South Korea. So if you don't know, Do Kwon was the founder of Terra Luna, and he has been jailed in Montenegro for the last 4 months. However, this week we got new news talking about how he could be extradited to either the US or South Korea and face up to 40 years. So, Sia, you want to take us away and give us the details on that?
Yeah, I think that was a great introduction. So I obviously, as all you guys know, Do Kwon, the famous crypto boss from not too long ago in the $40 billion crash of Terra Luna, one of the most, I would say, at one point, one of the most well-respected cryptocurrency faces in the industry. I mean, Terra Luna and that whole kind of Luna ecosystem was touted as, the model for, potential stablecoins of the future. He was talking about an algorithmic stablecoin. And then it turns out a lot of it was basically propped up by himself and some other funds coming from other companies. But basically at a very high level, he was on the run for a while in Serbia, a couple other countries, tried to board a flight to in Dubai, to Dubai from Montenegro, and the Montenegro police stopped him. And then he was actually charged with 4 months in prison for actually forging documents. That's what Montenegro got him on. But right now, basically the US and South Korea are in a battle to get extradition rights for him to come back and face his criminal charges of fraud. And I believe there's a couple other charges as well. But fraud is the main one that's carrying that 40-year sentence. But essentially, South Korea and the US are in a battle for extradition because those are kind of the two, essentially legally, the two countries where he could face the most time for what he did with Terra Luna. So now it's basically a fight to see who's going to win that extradition battle and how much time he's actually going to serve. It sounds like, he was always saying, at least on Twitter, he was saying he wasn't on the run. But when they, kind of found him and then started talking to him, he had a bunch of passports on him and his buddy that he was traveling with. It was pretty clear that they were trying to be as evasive as possible. He was saying it's more for personal security. He didn't want people knowing where he was, even the city location or the country location. But it was very, very clear that he was trying to be as evasive as possible. I don't think that's going to play to his favor when he actually comes to sentencing. But it's kind of sounding like the U.S. might have the upper hand here in terms of extradition rights. But I think a lot of that still remains to be seen. But that's kind of a brief overview of some of what's going on right now with Do Kwon. And obviously, even with something like Luna Classic, I would be very careful, guys. I mean, this dude is just obviously a criminal. Like he's going to face decades in prison. I would be careful around anything that has touched Luna.
Well, not only that, I think he was also found with a treasure stick shoved up his ass, and that's how he was trying to get through airport security. So sure, financially he's sketchy, but I think he also has, a lapse in some other judgment as well. Mata, interested to hear your take on this.
Yeah, not the smoothest criminal, that's for sure. I think ultimately it's still too early to say what's going to happen to Do Kwon. I think it's important to keep up to date on this because the extradition request is really a sign that authorities are taking the collapse of UST, the collapse of Luna, really seriously, right? So the outcome of the case will probably ultimately have some pretty major implications for the future of cryptocurrency regulation, which we've been talking about a lot over the past month or two for the most part. So I think, it's interesting. It's a wild, everything that's gone on with Do Kwon and Luna and all of this. But I think it does have some further implications that are important, and it's good to keep up to date with. So,
yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, obviously, it's never great when people lose a bunch of funds and they have faith in this guy and he's telling them things that aren't true. But at the same time, it's good to see these countries and these judicial systems coming back and saying, okay, we don't care how long ago this was, and we don't care that you've been on the run for X amount of time. We're still going to come and you're going to get your day in court. And so really it's good to see that they're willing to protect, you know, and kind of help out people who have been affected by it, in terms of the person who's, you know, Do Kwon being the guy that was essentially responsible for it. Eventually he's going to get his time. So it's cool to see, you know, these systems actually coming in for recourse, as opposed to just kind of letting them slide. Because I think for a while there, between May and like a couple months ago, people were like, oh, he got away with it. Like he's gone. Like he's good. You know, same thing on the SBF side. And it's cool to see that, you know, at least they're coming after him.
Yeah, I mean, imagine telling, you know, yourself in early 2021 that Do Kwon, CZ, and SBF would be all sued or, you know, jailed at this point by the SEC and the US court system. It's pretty crazy to see what these, you know, crypto giants have turned into over the past couple of years. So, as always, if you guys like this content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And catch us every week for new updates in the crypto space. Wag me.